This time, the season 4, I'm going to involve people more in the discussion so that everyone can take part and everyone will remember what we discussed rather than just listening, going home and forgetting about it. Everyone will remember when we discuss it, hopefully, and then they will be able to practice it. And just one more point quickly. All the information that I'm quoting, all the Dhamma points that I'm quoting here in this program, I have taken from the oldest Tripitaka in the world, which is kept at the British Library in London. And the other Tripitakas that I have read, I have 4 other Tripitakas. The oldest Tripitaka is over 2,100 years old. All the other Tripitakas that I have seen in the world are less than 200 years old. And there are substantial differences I have noticed. For example, the first sutra that Lord Buddha delivered, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, that's the sutra that we are going to use here to discuss and explain the path to Sothapanna, the first level of enlightenment. In the old Tripitaka, it's written on gold leaves and it's 50 pages. And all the other Tripitakas that I have seen in the world, they have only 3.5 pages. So there's a huge difference between 3 pages and the 50 pages, 3.5 pages and the 50 pages. Due to this reason, the Dhamma points that I'm going to explain to you may slightly differ from what you have learned already. And if that is the case, don't develop anger, resentment, or arguments against it. Just practice the principle that Lord Buddha explained in Kalama Sutra. In Kalama Sutra, Lord Buddha said, don't either believe or disbelieve what I say. Just listen to me, remember this, take it home, go through it several times, analyze it using your intelligence and wisdom. And at the end of the day, if you think it's correct, you take it, you practice it, and you will get results very quickly. On the other hand, if you think it's wrong, just leave it out and carry on with whatever you were doing before. So I make the same kind of request from all of you. Okay, now we are not going to spend time observing Panchasila and the meditation as we always do because of this time problem. We will go straight into the Dhamma discussion. Okay. Now in the last sermon, season 4 sermon 1 that I delivered from London in February, I explained 4 important points. Point 1, what is Sothapanna? What do we mean by Sothapanna? Point 1. Point 2, what are the special qualities a Sothapanna person has? And point 3, what are the benefits of becoming Sothapanna? And point 4, what happens to us if we don't become Sothapanna? Now let's see how many people will remember. We'll take it as a discussion. What do we mean by Sothapanna? Can someone explain, people who have been with us for some time? Archana Gedam?
Yes, Bhante. Sothapanna is a person who have removed the first 3 fetters, which is Sakaya Diti, second is Vichikicha, which is doubt, and third is
Yeah,
Sila
those are the special qualities of a Sothapanna person. That's my second question. My first question is now I'm asking, what do we mean by Sothapanna? The definition of Sothapanna.
The person who have entered to the stream.
That's correct. Sotha means Nibbana Marga and Apanna means arrived at. So that person has arrived at the Nibbana Marga and is the first level of enlightenment. Now, you see, I won't be able to do the program the way I wanted to do it. I want to talk to everyone. But let's see if the others can say a few words as well. They will remember. Rima, can you remember the definition of a Sothapanna person? People who have been with us for some time. Sunil, can you remember? Richard, can you remember?
I can, Bhante, but I'm just working on the other side, trying to make the session for you for 3 hours.
Okay,
I'm just,
okay.
all right.
Archana Patel, can you remember? Yes, try. Give it a try. Nagsen is joining as well. Nagsen, can you hear me?
Yeah, Bhanteji, Namo Buddhaya.
And now, Nagsen, this time we are going to have more of a discussion rather than just delivering the sermon and giving time for people to ask questions. That way, only few people, remember and go home and practice, as you know. Now, I did three series. So this is the fourth series. Fourth series, I thought of having more of a discussion. So
Okay.
in season 4, the first sermon that I delivered from London, in that I explained 4 important points. Firstly, what do we mean by Sothapanna? First question. Second question, what are the special qualities of a Sothapanna person? And third question, what are the benefits of becoming Sothapanna? Fourth question, what happens to us if we don't become Sothapanna? I'm sure you will be able to answer this. Archana gave a reasonable answer. Archana Gedam. What do we mean by Sothapanna, Nagsen? Sota Apanna. Sota means
Actually,
Nibbana Marga. Apanna means arrived at. So
One
that
time-
person has arrived at Nibbana Marga. Okay. Would you agree? And it is the first level of enlightenment.
yeah, Bhanteji, I agree with you. Actually,
So Sota means Nibbana Marga. Apanna means arrived at. What is the Nibbana Marga? Sammaditi, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Agree? Would you agree, Archana?
Yes, Bhante.
It will be good if everyone can unmute and join the discussion, please. Can you all unmute?
Done.
So the Nibbana Marga is Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Then let's move on to the second question. Second question is, what are the special qualities of a Sothapanna person? Can anyone remember?
Yes.
Right. Lord Buddha said, firstly, there are 7 Buddha jhanas, special wisdom. So Samma Sambuddha has 73. A Sothapanna person will attain 7 of them. Can anyone remember them? The first one is called Suttame Jnana. Second one is called Silame Jnana. Third one is called Bhavaname Jnana. Then the fourth one is called Dukkhe Jnanam. Fifth one, Dukkha Samudaya Jnanam. Sixth one, Dukkha Nirodha Jnanam. Seventh one, Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Jnanam. Ayang Uchyati Bhikkhave Sammaditi. Now, earlier also we mentioned the word Sammaditi. So here Lord Buddha says, anyone who has these 7 Buddha jhanas, 7 special knowledges, is Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi means he has completed the first level of the Nibbana Marga. So what are these 7 Buddha Jnanas? Can anyone remember? Can anyone explain them in English? Suttame Jnana means the knowledge, special knowledge a person will gain by listening to correct Dhamma that will help him to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. The main point in Buddha Dhamma is eradicating Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Remember the last 3 words of Samma Sambuddha? Appamadena sang pahadeta. Appamada means without any delay. Pahadeta means remove. Sang means raga, dvesha, moha. Or akusal. Or klesha, another word. Or kala, kali, kalo. All these words are used to describe raga, dvesha, moha. What is raga, dvesha, moha? We'll discuss it in detail next time. You see, it is very important to know the correct definitions of these important words. Otherwise, you will not be able to comprehend Dhamma correctly. So let's look at the special qualities first. Firstly, the person has 7 Buddha Jnanas, 7 special knowledges. First one is the knowledge that he will gain by listening to Dhamma. Second one is Silame Jnana. Sila means discipline. Lord Buddha's discipline is, he called it Kotyak Sangvara Sila. Kotyak means unlimited number of disciplines. So a person who has listened to correct number, he will correct Dhamma, he will know the exact meaning of Kotyak Sangvara Sila. Now, as far as Sila is concerned, we know Pancha Sila, the 5 precepts. We know Ashtanga Sila, the 8 precepts. And we know Dasa Sila, 10 precepts. But those are only 5, 8, and 10 out of the unlimited number. So Lord Buddha's Sila is unlimited number of Sila, Kotyak Sangvara Sila. So the person who has listened to correct Dhamma, firstly, he has learned Dhamma, correct Dhamma. And secondly, he knows exactly what Sila means, Kotyak Sangvara Sila. So that's the second special knowledge he has. Third special knowledge is Bhavana Jnana. He will know exactly what Buddha Bhavana is. So these are first 3 knowledges. The next 4 are Dukkha Jnanam, Dukkha Samudaya Jnanam, Dukkha Nirodha Jnanam, Dukkha Nirodhagamini, Patipada Jnanam. Dukkha Jnanam. Dukkha Jnanam means he knows exactly what is meant by the first noble truth. First noble truth of suffering. Suffering is the first noble truth. And the second noble truth is the reason for suffering. So he will know exactly what the reason is for suffering. Suffering, Lord Buddha said, we are going to discuss it in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. Suffering, he said, Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, vyadipi dukkha, maranampi dukkha, soga parideva dukkha, domanas upayasapi dukkha, piyehi vipayogo dukkha, piyehi sampayogo dukkha, yampi icchanna labati tampi dukkha, sankittena pancha upadana skandha dukkha. So he said, we will be discussing all this in detail when we start going through Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. I just want to make few points to you here. Just a revision of what we learned in the last discussion. So the first noble truth, he said, is Sankittena Pancha Upadana Skandha Dukkha. Pancha Upadana Skandha is the first noble truth. And that causes 11 fires, he said, 11 types of suffering. So we'll discuss it in detail in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. Then the second noble truth, he said, the reason for suffering, kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Tanha is the reason. Tanha he divided into 3 categories. The reason for noble truth of suffering. So the reason is tanha. We will discuss in detail what tanha means. Then the third noble truth is out of suffering. So Lord Buddha explained in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, according to cause and effect theory, if you want to stop the effect, the result, you have to eradicate the cause or stop the cause. That is the third noble truth. And the fourth noble truth is the way out of suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. Sorry, I'm going a little fast because of the time constraint. I do apologize if you don't fully understand, but next month we will get the time problem sorted out. So the other 4 Buddha jhanas he will have, he will know exactly what is the first noble truth, which is noble truth of suffering, dukkha jnana. The 5th special knowledge he will have is dukkha samudaya jnana. He will know exactly what is the reason for suffering, which is kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. He will know what is kama tanha, what is bhava tanha, what is vibhava tanha. He or she. Then the third noble truth, sorry, that's the third noble truth, out of suffering. Sorry, the third noble truth is out of suffering, yes. So he will know exactly what is out of suffering. In other words, if you want to stop the result, the cause, the effect, you have to stop the cause. He will know that in detail. And then he will know the way out of suffering, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Now, Samma Ditti. Now, this word sang appears thousands of times in the Tripitaka. So, in the Noble Eightfold Path, it appears 8 times. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. Can someone tell me what is Samma Ditti?
Right view.
What is the right view? If you ask 10 people what is the right view, they will say 10 different things.
Bhante, vision which helps to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha.
Say that again, Archana.
Vision which helps to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha.
Perfect answer. You see, Sang means Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Ma means completely eradicating. Ditti is vision. So it's the vision that helps to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Perfect answer, 100 out of 100. Then the second fold of the Noble Eightfold Path, Samma Sankappa. Samma Sankappa, the thoughts that will help you to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha completely. You see, Sangma, for all 8 folds, you get the word Sangma. Sang means Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Or another word is Klesha, another word is Akusal, another words Kala, Kali, Kalo. All these words Lord Buddha has used to describe Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So here he's using the word sang, and that appears most of the time. So the second fold is Samma Sankappa. Sankappa is thoughts. The thoughts that will help a person to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. Samma Sankappa. Samma Vacha. Now you can even guess. Samma means completely eradicating. Vacha is speech. The speech that helps you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. Samma Vacha. Samma Kammanta. Kammanta is action. So action that will help you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. Samma Kammanta. Samma Ajiva. Ajiva is the lifestyle. The lifestyle that helps you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. Samma Sati. Sati is concentration. The concentration that helps you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. And finally, Samma Samadhi. Samadhi is meditation. The meditation that helps you to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. Would anyone agree? Is there anyone who wouldn't agree with that explanation? Please speak out if anyone doesn't agree. Okay, it seems that everyone agrees. Right, we have 11 people so far. Doesn't matter. So the first quality is that person, the Sothapanna person, has 7 Buddha jhanas. I explained the 7 Buddha jhanas briefly, and when we go through Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, I'll explain in more detail. We'll sort out this time problem and then we can discuss it leisurely. So the second quality is that person has attained Sammaditthi. He has completed the first fold of the Noble Eightfold Path, Sammaditthi. And what is the third quality? Can someone tell me? Archana Gedam started on that earlier.
Silabbata Paramas, Bhante?
Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata Paramasa. There are 10 bonds. They are called Dasa Sangyojana. The word Sang appears again. Dasa means 10. Sang means Raga Dvesha Moha, bond. Dasa means Dasa Sangyojana. Yojana means bonds. So Dasa Sangyojana in Lord Buddha's language. In English, we can say 10 bonds that binds us to sansara. Again, the word sang appears. I will explain to you as we go on the meaning of the word sansara. You get this word everywhere. So that person has eradicated 3 of the 10 bonds. Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata Paramasa. Can anyone tell me what the other 7 bonds are?
Kama, Raga, Patiga.
Right. Excellent.
Rupa Raga, Arupa Raga, Mana, Uddacca, Avijja.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. Right. So, Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata Paramasa, a person will eradicate when he becomes Sothapanna. Then Kama Raga Patiga, he will eradicate by the time he becomes Anagami. Then Rupa Raga, Mana, Uddacca, Avidya, the 5 bonds he will eradicate at Arahat level, which is the most difficult one. Now, can someone tell me what is Sakkaya Ditthi? Those are the 3 that we have to know at Sothapanna level. Don't worry about the other 7. Just work on these 3. That's all we have to know at Sothapanna level in order to become Sothapanna. So let's concentrate on those 3. What is Sakkaya Ditthi? What is Vicikicca? What is Silabbata Paramasa? I think Archana Gedab knows, Archana Patel knows. Archana, you started Sakkaya Ditthi. What is Sakkaya Ditthi?
Sakkaya Ditthi is having the wrong view about ourselves and others
Yes.
and alike.
Answer is 50% right. Let's see what Archana Patel is going to say.
Bhante ji, Satkaya Drishti is like we have wrong understanding of ourselves, like about 5 senses.
Yeah, wrong understanding about using the 6 senses.
6 senses. Yeah.
Eyes, ears, nose, body, tongue, and the mind.
Yeah.
Right? A
Yes,
person
Bhante.
who does not know Dhamma, Lord Buddha called that person in Lord Buddha's language, Pruthakjana. So Pruthakjana person believes that we live life to satisfy our 6 senses. In other words, misusing our eyes, ears, nose in order to enjoy aswada. And aswada has a severe downfall because every time when a person commits aswada, he is accumulating unwholesome qualities and sins. That unwholesome qualities are raga, dvesha, moha, and sins. So if he keeps on doing this, by the time he dies, he will have a mountain of raga, dvesha, moha qualities accumulated in his chitta santana. I explained, I will be explaining again chitta santana in detail. And that's where we accumulate our wholesome qualities, unwholesome qualities, merits, sins, past memories, and our several other things. We'll discuss it in detail later. So Sakkaya Ditthi means, Sakkaya Ditthi means having that wrong view, wrong understanding that we are here to satisfy the 6 senses by enjoying aswada. Aswada is the mentally fabricated pleasure. So the Sothapanna person would have understood that the danger of enjoying aswada through the 6 senses. He will know the downfall and he has decided to take a U-turn. And he will take a U-turn. Because he knows if he goes down that road, enjoying aswada through the 6 senses, he will end up in one of the 4 hells. Maybe some people will understand what I'm saying now, some may not. But once we go through the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, I'll be explaining these things in more detail. I want to make sure everyone who joins the program this time, by the time we finish the program, everyone would have understood Dhamma, practiced Dhamma, and become Sothapanna. In this group, I know there are a few people, some of them are not here today, 5 or 6 people who followed the 3 seasons, the 3 programs, the 30 sermons, and practiced, and they are either Sothapanna or close to become Sothapanna. No one can tell, only Sambuddha can tell whether a person is Sothapanna or not. But that person will know. That person will know that he or she has 7 Buddha jhanas, and that person has attained, he or she will know that he or she has attained Sammaditthi, and he or she will know that that person has eradicated Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikicca, Silabbata, Paramasa. The 3 Sangyojanas out of the 10 Sangyojanas. 3 bonds out of the 10 bonds. You know, it's a little complicated when you explain these things in English, because English language doesn't have enough words to explain Dhamma. Because Lord Buddha explained Dhamma in Magadhi language, and it's a very, very special language that exists in the world to explain Dhamma, whereas English is a European language. And English has lots of words to explain material things, but when it comes to Lokottara, out of this world, the Nibbana path, English language doesn't have words. So anyway, I'll do my best to explain this to you. People who have been with me for some time know these things. I have explained them many, many times. So Sakkaya Ditthi is eradicating the wrong understanding that we have about our six senses. We are misusing six senses. That is what we call Kamesu Miccāchāra Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyāmi. Today is wrongly interpreted as sexual misconduct. It is not sexual misconduct. Kamesu Miccāchāra means misusing the six senses to enjoy aswada. That's what every Pruthagjana person does from morning till evening. People from the day they are born until they die, they live to satisfy these six senses. In other words, enjoy aswada. They study hard, pass exams, go to university, get degrees, get good jobs, work hard, earn money to do what? To satisfy the eyes, ears, nose, body, tongue, and the mind. Nothing else. That's what they call enjoyment. If there's anything else, right. Now, Archana, we were discussing that Sakkaya Ditthi. Sakkaya Ditthi is the wrong understanding a person has. So the person, Pruthagjana person who doesn't know Dhamma, he's doing it all the time, maybe 3,000 times a day on average. And then he'll be accumulating huge amounts of sins and unwholesome qualities, akusal, every day. And by the time he dies, he has accumulated the mountain of sins and mountain of akusal, and that will take him to the four hells. When we go through the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, I will explain to you how people, unwholesome qualities and sins will be originated or created when a person enjoys aswada. So that to explain all that, we have to go through the Panchaskandha, Panchupadanaskandha, then the Chitta Santana and the astral body and all that. We will explain that in due course. So for the time being, the three bonds, three Sangyojanas out of the 10, that a person will eradicate when he becomes Sothapanna. First one is Sakkaya Ditthi. Second one is Vicikiccha and Silabbata Paramasa. Third one is Silabbata Paramasa. Once the first one is eradicated, the second and the third will be eradicated automatically. Let me explain you how that happens. Sakkaya Ditthi, once you eradicate that, Vicikiccha is the doubt that you have about Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. A person will have a doubt about Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha until he listens to proper Dhamma, correct Dhamma, and eradicates Sakkaya Ditthi. Once Sakkaya Ditthi is eradicated, he will know that this is the way out of suffering. So he will have no doubt whatsoever about the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Buddha who rediscovered that Dhamma, or you can say discovered that Dhamma, Samma Sambuddha, or rediscovered, and the Dhamma itself, and the Sangha who preached or taught or delivered that Dhamma to you. So you will have no doubt. So Vicikiccha will go away. Silabbata Paramasa. Silabbata Paramasa is that people do, let's say if you take Buddhist people, there are many Silabbata Paramas that Buddhist people do. Silabbata Paramasa means Lord Buddha has explained clearly in the Noble Eightfold Path the 8 things that we have to do in order to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha and end our suffering in this life itself. We don't have to wait until we die to enjoy the pleasure of Nibbana, the Santutti of Nibbana. We can enjoy it in this life right now if we can eradicate our Raga, Dvesha, Moha. The path is the Noble Eightfold Path. So the Noble Eightfold Path, Lord Buddha has explained exactly what we have to do. But as Buddhist people who do not know Dhamma, there are many, many other things they do outside what Lord Buddha has explained in the Noble Eightfold Path. And those are Silabbata Paramasa. For example, now don't try to, don't misunderstand and come to fight with me on this. As Buddhist people, we offer flowers, joss sticks, and oil lamps, and pray for hours. Does Lord Buddha say that in the Noble Eightfold Path? Is it recommended? It's not said anywhere. And some people starve purposely without eating for several days, thinking that that will help them to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Is it included in the Noble Eightfold Path? No. Noble Eightfold Path says Sammaditi, you get the vision that helps you to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha, and the Vacha, the speech, then the action, then the livelihood, and then the effort, then the concentration, then meditation. Anything outside that is Silabbata Paramasa. So by the time you have attained Sammaditi, or once you have eradicated Sakkaya Ditthi, that means you have learned correct Dhamma, you have attained 7 Buddha Jnanas, you know exactly what you have to do to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha, but you haven't done it yet. You know how to travel. For example, you know how to travel from Los Angeles to New York, but you haven't done that yet. So similarly here, a person who has attained Sammaditi by gaining the 7 Buddha Jnanas, he knows exactly what he has to do in the next 7 folds in order to eradicate Raga, Dvesha, Moha completely and go all the way up to Arahathood and enjoy the pleasure of Nibbana in this world. He knows how to do it, but he hasn't done it yet. He only has the knowledge. So that person knows exactly what he has to do, and anything outside that is Silabbata Paramasa. I hope that explanation is clear to everyone. If not, let me know. I'll try and explain it in another way. Silabbata Paramasa. Is there anyone who doesn't agree with that? Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silabbata Paramasa. So next time when I ask you questions in the next session, probably next month, I want everyone to be able to answer these questions, what we discussed today. I mean, what we discussed last time in the first sermon, season 4. I'm revising it now because without remembering these things, there's no point in going forward. I'll be sitting here and delivering sermons, and people will be listening. I know only few people have really listened, remembered, and practiced that. There are only 5 or 6 people in the entire group since we started in 2021. I think more than 100 people followed. Some people followed season 1, some people followed season 2, some people followed season 3, some people followed all 3. And out of them, there are only 5 or 6 people who have really understood and started practicing. So without practicing, one cannot become Sothapanna, There are 4 things that Lord Buddha explained in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra, Sothapanna Sutra, and several other sutras. He repeated that, reiterated that. There are 4 things one has to do in order to become Sothapanna. First one is Kalyana Mitra Sevana, or Satpuriso Sangsevana. That means associating a person who is capable of explaining Dhamma to you, which will help you to eradicate Raga Desha Moha. Kalyana Mitra. Kal, the word Kal is used here, Klesha. Yana means removing. Kalyana Mitra, person who could explain how to remove Raga Desha Moha. First one. That is a Sothapanna person. So you have to associate the person. Then Siri Saddharma Shravana, listening to Lord Buddha's Dhamma that is explained by that person. Whoever it is, it could be Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. Any one of the 4 categories, a person who has comprehended 4 noble truths at the first level or the first round. Lord Buddha said there are 3 rounds in which you comprehend the 4 noble truths. Each noble truth in 4 rounds. So the first noble truth, second noble truth, third noble truth, fourth noble truth. A person has comprehended those 4 in the first round, first level, and that is another definition Lord Buddha gave. That person is Sothapanna. They are called Satya Jnana. Then the second level is Krutya Jnana. Third level is Kruta Jnana. Jnana means these special wisdoms, you know. Lord Buddha, there's no word in the English language to give the exact meaning, but the nearest word, the word that gives the nearest meaning, I can say wisdom. So, now let's go back to where we were. We are discussing now the special qualities of a Sothapanna person. So that person has attained 7 Buddha Jnanas, which means he is Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi means Sothapanna. Sota means Nibbana Marga. Apanna means arrived at. So he has arrived at the Nibbana Marga, which is the Noble Eightfold Path. And he has completed the first fold of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is Sammaditthi. Sang means Raga Dvesha Moha. Ma means completely eradicating. This is the vision. So he has the vision as to how to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha completely. To put it simply, he knows exactly how to eradicate Raga Dvesha Moha. He hasn't done it yet. So he knows the path. Then he will start doing it. So he will have 7 Buddha Jnanas, he'll be Sammaditthi. Then he has eradicated 3 of the 10 bonds. 3 out of the Dasa Sangyojana, 10 bonds that binds a person to the samsara. And that is Sakkaya Ditthi, Vicikiccha, Silabbata Paramasa. We will discuss this in more detail as we go on. There's no rocket science to Lord Buddha's Dhamma. It's very simple. Even a 10-year-old child can understand the first round of the first noble, the 4 noble truths and become Sothapanna. Going beyond Sothapanna is a little difficult because you have to practice a lot of meditation, but becoming Sothapanna, I can assure you, if you can spare 2 hours a day properly to practice this path, the way that I will explain to you at the end. I explained that in season 3, season 2, season 1. This time I will explain it in more detail. So if you spare those 2 hours every day, that's less than 10% of your 24 hours day, you know. People spend so much time on their education, on their job, and various things. But when you say, can you spare 2 hours to learn Dhamma and become Sothapanna, which is the most important thing in life, people say they don't have the time. But all they are doing in their life is, let's say they live up to a maximum of 100 years. During those 100 years, they accumulate 3 things. Firstly, they accumulate knowledge. Secondly, they accumulate people. Thirdly, they accumulate wealth. These 3 things they accumulate to do what? In order to satisfy the 6 senses and enjoy aswada. That's all they do in their life during the 100 years if they don't know Dhamma, right? And after 100 years, within 1 second, when they die, within 1 second, they will lose all that they have accumulated during the past 100 years. The knowledge, the people, the wealth, everything they have accumulated, they will lose. It will be lost forever. And the only thing they will carry forward is what they have in their Chitta Santana. Their Kusal, Akusal. That is, Akusal is Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Kusal is Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. And the merits and the sins. Only thing is, if they have become Sotapanna, then their wholesome qualities will be more than the unwholesome qualities. In other words, their Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka will be more powerful than the Raga, Dvesha, Moha. Then they will never ever go to the 4 hells again, because in the last moment, they will never get a Raga, Dvesha, Moha thought. They will always get a Maitri, Karuna thought. You all know Emperor Ashoka built 84,000 Buddha viharas, 84,000 Buddhist temples. And where did he end up in? He ended up in the 4 hells. He did, accumulated so much of merits, but he had more Raga, Dvesha, Moha than Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. In his, I explained, taking an example of boxes. So in the first box, we accumulate our wholesome qualities, Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. In the second box, we accumulate our merits that we have accumulated by practicing Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. In the third box, we have our unwholesome qualities, Raga, Dvesha, Moha. In the fourth box, we accumulate sins by practicing Raga, Dvesha, Moha. So at the time of death, if our wholesome qualities are more than unwholesome qualities, in other words, if our Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka is stronger than Raga, Dvesha, Moha, that means we are Sotapanna. We will get Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thoughts into our final thought, what we call Chutta Sita in Lord Buddha's language. And if we get Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thoughts, we will never go to the 4 hells, but only Sotapanna people will get that. All the others will get Raga, Dvesha, Moha thoughts. They will either be thinking of their people that they have accumulated, or the knowledge they have accumulated, or the wealth they have accumulated. And those are Raga, Dvesha, Moha thoughts, and that will take them straight to the 4 hells. That's why it's so important to become Sotapanna. When I explain it like this, it's not very clear, but when we go through Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, I will explain it in more detail, then it will be clearer to you. At this stage, all I wanted you to understand is the definition of Sotapanna. Is the first level of enlightenment. Sota means Nibbana Marga, the Noble Eightfold Path. Apanna means arrived at. So the person who has arrived at the Nibbana Marga, and that means he has completed the first fold of the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the Nibbana Marga. And he is Sammaditthi, that is one quality he has. and he has eradicated 3 bonds of the 10 bonds that binds him to the samsara. And he will never ever go to the 4 hells again. And that Lord Buddha confirmed in Ratana Sutra. In Ratana Sutra, Lord Buddha said, Sahavassa Dassana Sampadaya, a person who has learned and got a vision of this Dhamma, Tayasu Dhamma Jahida Bhavanti, Sakkaya Ditti Vichikichikancha, Silabbatang Vapi Achachikinchi. That person has eradicated Sakkaya Ditti Vichikicha Silabbata Paramasa for good. It will never come back again. Chatu apaye hichavipamutto. Chatu apa means the 4 apayas, 4 hells. He will never ever go to the 4 hells. So that is a guarantee that Lord Buddha has given, and that is the most important thing that we should attain in our life. We should give second priority to everything else. Our education, our job, our family, everything else, second priority, and the top priority should be attaining Sammaditi. Otherwise, if you hold on to other things, the people you gathered, the wealth you gathered, accumulated, and the knowledge you accumulated, if you keep using those things and enjoy Aswada, by the time you die, you will not be Sothapanna, and 4 hells are guaranteed. I hope this, I'm sure people who have been with me for some time understand what I'm saying, especially people like Archana Gedam. Archana has been with us throughout the 4 series. And then Rima is not here now. Rima has gone. Rima has been there as well. And Archana Patel joined recently, but she has been asking lots of questions, and I can see her knowledge. And she's also either Sothapanna or very close to become Sothapanna. So those are the people that I know. And Richard also very knowledgeable. Others, I don't know their knowledge. Maybe they are far ahead of us. I don't know. But these are the people that I know. In addition to that, people like Nagsen, Pankaj Meshram, Pankaj Shamkwa. And those are the people who are either Sothapanna or close to Sothapanna. In my opinion, I can't confirm, only a Samma Sambuddha can, I can only guess. But their knowledge is good. Now, then what happens if we don't become Sothapanna by the time we die? Now, I explained what happens, but let me show you where Lord Buddha explained it in a sutra. There's a sutra called Chutta Sutra in the Tripitaka. In the Chutta Sutra, Lord Buddha takes a little bit of earth from the ground to his hand, and he shows it to the disciples and say, please compare the amount of earth that I have in my hand against the amount of earth on the ground, entire ground, entire planet, you can say. Then the disciples said, well, the amount of earth you have in your hand is very little, and the amount of earth we find on the ground is huge, is incomparable. So Lord Buddha said, by the time when people die, only a tiny proportion of people equivalent to the amount of soil in my hand will become Sothapanna and go to a better place, and all the others will go to the 4 hells. I'm not saying that, it's Lord Buddha saying that in the Chutta Sutra. If you don't believe me, have a look at the Chutta Sutra and you will realize it. So it's so important to become Sothapanna. In the Chutta Sutra, Lord Buddha explains further. He says, by the time when a person dies, if he has already attained Arhathood, that is the 4th level of enlightenment, he will go to the best place in the 31 planes, Lord Buddha explained about the 31 planes, which is Nibbana. Nibbana, people ask Lord Buddha, what is Nibbana? He said it is the place where you don't get Jati, Jara, Vyadi, Marana, Soka Parideva, Dukkha Domanasa, Upayasa, Piyehi Vipayogo Dukkha, Apiyehi Sampayogo Dukkha. Those are the 11 types of suffering Lord Buddha explained that human beings undergo, or people, not only the people, even the superior beings in Brahmaloka, Divyaloka, Manushaloka, and the four hells, all of them undergo those 11 types of suffering. Lord Buddha called it 11 fires. Ekolosgin, 11 fires. So a person who has not comprehended Dhamma will be burning with those 11 fires, he says. But when a person becomes Arahat, he'll be free from those 11 fires. When a person goes to Nibbana, he'll be free from those fires. That's what he said. So Nibbana is a place where you don't have, in other words, he said Nibbana is a place where there's no suffering, there's no time limit, there's no death, there's no birth. It's a place, we cannot understand. We can't describe in words. It's like, the story of the fish and the tortoise. There was a pond. I will explain the story short. In brief, there was a pond, and a fish and a tortoise lived there, and they were very good friends. And they used to meet every day and have a chat. All of a sudden, the tortoise disappeared, and he returned after many, many days. Then the fish asked him, "Where did you go, my friend?" He
Bhante, 8
said, "I
minutes.
went to the dry land." Then fish asked, "What is dry land like?" He was trying to explain dry land. There's no water there, and the land is dry, and there are trees there, there are people there. Fish couldn't understand because he doesn't know what dry land is like. He was asking how come there's no water? Is there mud there? Is there fish? Is there frogs there? He was asking what he has seen in the water. So similarly, we, human beings, we can only see what is in the human world. We don't know what the four hells are like. We don't know what the other, superior realms are like. Because Lord Buddha said in the 31 planes, there are 20 Brahmaloka, 6 Divyaloka, then the Manushaloka, the human world where we live. We can see the human world, and the first hell, animal world, we can see. We can see how much animals suffer. That's all we can see. But beyond that, Lord Buddha said there's Bhutaloka, Pretaloka, and the hell itself. Suffering is immense there. We don't know what it is like. We can't remember. We all have been there, but we can't remember. So similarly, we can't remember what Divyaloka is like. We can't remember what Brahmaloka is like. We can only understand what the human world is like and what the animal world is like, because that's all that we can see right now. So similarly, we cannot imagine what the Nibbana is like. But Lord Buddha said that is the best place. So if one becomes Arahat and he passes away to Parinibbana, that's where he goes. That's the best place. Then if one attains the third level of enlightenment, that is, can anyone remember these things that I explained last time? I'm sure Archana Gedam can remember. Archana has a very good memory. Can you remember, Archana?
Yes, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
Can you explain, please? I'm sure you can remember. You are very good at Dhamma. Can you explain in your words?
Bhante, when a person has attained Nibbana, of course, there is no more jati for him, no more birth. The third is the anagami. The Anagami is a non-returner. and they are born into the Sothavasa loka.
Yes. So he has attained this the third level of enlightenment, right?
Yes, Bhante.
Right. And the second level,
Second level is
Sakudagami.
Sakadagami, which is the once returner. And they go to the the good Divya Loka.
Yes, yes.
And
then the Sothapanna.
Sothapanna is the first level of the enlightenment, and he at the max had 7 lives to take birth either in the good Divya Loka or as a Manisha Loka. The
Not 7 lives actually. That's where a lot of people misunderstand. Lord Buddha said, Nate bhavang attamanga diyanti.
Yeah. Not the 8 existence.
There's no 8th bhava.
No.
Bhava doesn't mean life.
That is correct.
Right?
Yes, Bhante.
Now, if you go to the, I'm sure you know that, right?
Yes, he will not have the 8th bhava.
8th bhava, yes. What is the bhava? Can you explain it to the others?
Coming into being.
Yes, coming into being. Now there are, you see, Nate bhavang attamanga diyanti means there are 8 bhavas that we go through, right? Now, if you look at the Paticca Samuppada Dhamma, it says Avidya Paccha Sankara, Sankara Paccha Vijnana, Vijnana Paccha Nama Rupa, Nama Rupa Paccha Palayatana, Salayatana Paccha Passo, Paccha Vedana, Vedana Paccha Tanha, Tanha Paccha Bhava, Bhava Paccha Jati. Right?
Yes, Bhante.
So Bhava means there are 8 types of combination of raga, dvesha, moha that we can have, a person can have by the time he dies, right?
Yes, Bhante.
So the first bhava is first bhava is he's in the Sothapanna marga. Sorry, let me think. First bhava is he's in the Sothapanna marga, right? Second bhava is he's attained Sothapanna phala, right?
Yes, Bhante.
Then once he has attained Sothapanna phala, he doesn't have Nate bhavang attamanga diyanti. He doesn't have an 8th bhava.
Yes.
He will have only 7 bhavas. The time period that he spends as a Sothapanna person is the first one. Second one is the time period that he will spend on the Sakudagami marga. Third one is the time period he will spend on Sakudagami phala. And the fourth one is the time period that he will spend in Anagami marga. Then the fifth one is he will spend on Anagami phala. Sixth one is the time period that he will spend on the Arhat marga. And the 8th one is he will spend on the Arhat phala, right?
Yes, Bhante.
So he doesn't have an 8th one because he has already completed 1, right?
Yes.
He has only 7, right?
Yes, Bhante.
2 at Arhat level, 2 at Anagami level, 2 at Sakudagami level.
And 2 at
Sothapanna level, he has completed 1, right?
Yes.
Only 7 left. So there's no 8th bhava for him. Sothapanna person, only 7 bhavas he has to complete, including the time he spends on the Sothapanna phala. And those eight time periods, he can, if he wants, if he's determined, he can complete it in 1 life. Right?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes. So Archana, you were explaining, that's quite good. Your explanation is good. So if a person has attained Arhathood, he will go to Nibbana, which is the best place. If a person has attained the 3rd level of enlightenment, Anagami, he will go to Suddhavasa Brahmaloka. And there are 5 of them. And out of the 20 Brahmalokas, Lord Buddha said, 5 are good and 15 are bad. So who goes to those bad Brahmaloka? People who practice wrong meditation based on breathing. Because before Lord Buddha rediscovered Buddhist meditation, because the previous Sammasambuddha, before Gautama Lord Buddha, every Sammasambuddha rediscovers Dhamma, and after a certain period of time, maybe 5,000 years, maybe 7,000 years, I don't know the exact time, the correct Dhamma disappears and it will be practiced as a religion called Buddhism. That's what's happening today. Most of the people are practicing Buddha Dhamma as a religion called Buddhism. And there's a huge difference between Buddhism and Buddha Dhamma. Most people don't know that. So in Buddhism, they're practicing 40 different meditation techniques which came from Hinduism. In the Visuddhimagga, written by a Brahmin priest about Buddhism, in that there's a section for meditation, one section. It is called Samasatalis Bhavana. Satalis means 40. There are 40 different meditation techniques based on breathing, which Hindus practiced. Because Hindus believe that Brahmaloka is the best place to go to. And what do you call them? The Hindu priests could only see up to Brahmaloka. They could not see the Nibbana. So they meditated to go to Brahmaloka, and they practiced those meditation techniques which made their mind blank. So those people go to those, the bad 15 Brahmalokas, and from there, they will stay there for a long time, like statues, because their six senses will not work, and they can't listen to Dhamma, they can't take Rupa Vedana Sanya and commit Sankara or Visankara. So they'll be staying there for a long time like statues. And then once their merits run out, their merits will run out because there's no serious suffering as such there. So their merits will be used while they are staying there. They cannot accumulate more merits or wholesome qualities because they cannot listen to Dhamma. And once the merits run out, they will be left with only the sins, and they will fall into the four hells to pay for the sins. So going to the Brahmaloka is an indirect route to the four hells. Then there are 6 Divyaloka. Below the Brahmaloka, you get 6 Divyaloka. Out of the 6 Divyaloka, Lord Buddha said 2 are good and 4 are bad. Now, by the time when they die, if they have attained the 3rd level of enlightenment, Sakudagami, they will go to the one of the best Divyalokas, one of the good Divyalokas, and those who are Sothapanna will go to the other Divyaloka. The 2 good Divyalokas are for Sothapanna people or Sothapanna persons, and then or Sothapanna individuals, I should say, and Sakudagami individuals. And Sakudagami individual, as Archana says, he might return once, but not come back to the human world again. Sothapanna person can come back several times and go back to that Divyaloka. But they will never ever go to the 4 hells again because they are either Sothapanna or higher. And then who goes to the bad Divyaloka? Those who are engaging in meritorious deeds and wishing for lots of comforts. Many Buddhist people give dana and do a lot of meritorious things, and they wish for good things to happen to them, good things in the human world. They will wish for a nice house, nice car, lots of money to enjoy, to satisfy these 6 senses. And those are the people who will go to the bad Divyaloka. Bad Divyaloka are like nightclubs. You only get Kama Sukha Yoga there. They will eat, drink, enjoy, but there's no Dhamma there. So they cannot listen to Dhamma. They can't learn Dhamma. While they're enjoying, their merits will run out. And in the end, they'll be left with the sins. In order to pay for the sins, they will fall into the four hells. Then the people who are in the Sothapanna Marga in the human world, by the time they die, if they have not attained Sothapanna, and very close to Sothapanna, then there's a possibility that they will get Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka thoughts, wholesome thoughts, Kusal thoughts into their last thought, Chuttasita, and they will come back to the human world again with a better chance to become Sothapanna. And the others who are in the Sothapanna Marga, also, there's a possibility, strong possibility that, I should say stronger possibility, that they will also get Raga, Dvesha, Moha thoughts into their mind, and they will end up in the four hells. So once a person goes to the four hells, that's the animal kingdom. Below that, you can see animals suffer 100 times more than humans. That is something that we can see, because a lot of animals die of hunger. When they are ill, they have no medicine. They can't ask for medicine. And sometimes they are eaten alive by other animals. Sometimes their children are eaten alive by other animals in front of them. And then they suffer so much compared to humans. So that is the best of the four hells, the best place. So you can imagine the ghost kingdom, the Bhutaloka, is 100 times worse than the animal kingdom, the amount of suffering. And the Pretaloka, inferior ghost kingdom, 100 times worse than the ghost kingdom. And the hell itself, that is so bad. Lord Buddha said, there's a sutra called Devadutta Sutra, in that Lord Buddha explains. And there's another sutra, I can't remember. And in that also Lord Buddha explains about the four hells and the amount of suffering that the animals undergo, and the Bhuta, Preta, and the Nira means hells. He said there are 131 types of hells. So that's unbelievable suffering. And if anyone goes there, they cannot listen to Dhamma, and they can't comprehend Dhamma. Just look at animals who live with us, a dog or a cat. Can they comprehend Dhamma? So they have no chance of becoming Sothapanna. That's why the probability of coming out of the four hells. Lord Buddha has given a beautiful example. He said the story of the one-eyed turtle. He said there's a turtle who lives on the seabed, and he has only one eye, and he comes out of the water and sees the sky once in 100 years' time. And when that happens, Lord Buddha said, now those days, the farmers had a tradition. They use, buffaloes for plowing their fields. And there was something like a post, cross post. They used to put on the buffalo's neck to tie them together. And there's a hole in the middle of it. And after some time, it will break into two from that hole. And farmers had a habit of throwing it in the river. So once it goes into the river, it will end up in the sea. And once it goes into the sea, who knows where it goes. And Lord Buddha said, when that a one-eyed turtle comes out of the water to see the sky once in 100 years, what is the probability that those two pieces of wood come together and fit exactly in the right position where that hole is, and the one-eyed turtle will be able to see the sky through that hole? Just imagine if you have done statistics, or I'm sure most of you have done maths, statistics, the probability is almost, zero. So Lord Buddha said that is the probability that when a living being goes to the four hells, that is the probability of coming out of the four hells to a human life again. It's almost impossible. So I'm sure no one wants to go there. And that's why Lord Buddha said we have to become Sothapanna. And remember, one can become Sothapanna only in the human world. Because when a person has attained first level of enlightenment, Sothapanna, he will go to a good Divyaloka, he can't become Sothapanna again. If he goes to a bad Divyaloka, there's no Dhamma there, he can't become Sothapanna. If he attains the third level of enlightenment and goes to Brahmaloka, he can't become Sothapanna again. If he goes to bad Brahmaloka, there's no Dhamma there, he can't become Sothapanna. And if he becomes Arhat and goes to Nibbana, then he has completed the path and he can't become Sothapanna again. So the only place where one can become Sothapanna is the human world, and that's where we are. And Lord Buddha said, Manusatta Patilabo Paramadullabo. The human life is the most precious. Dullabo means, what is the English word? Rare, precious. So that's where we are now. We have got that rare, precious life. And if we don't make use of it and become Sothapanna, if by any chance we go to the four hells again, and that's the end of it, we will suffer there for trillions of years. God knows, I don't know how long it will take us to come out of it. So that's why it's so important to become Sothapanna in this life, because this is the golden opportunity we have got. We have got a human life, and we are born at a time when correct Dhamma has appeared, and there are Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika who have comprehended Dhamma, become Sothapanna, and explaining the path to Sothapanna, which doesn't happen all the time. And Lord Buddha's Dhamma will stay for only 5,000 years. And after that, once it disappears, until the next Samma Sambuddha appears, there will be no more Dhamma, and no one will be able to become Sothapanna. In terms of human years, it could be trillions and trillions of years, because next Samma Sambuddha will appear after several eons, several kalpas. So this is a golden opportunity that we have got. We are born at the right time, and we are born in the right place in the human world. And we are lucky to have Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika who can explain the path to Sothapanna. And we have got the opportunity to meet them. So we have met Kalyana Mitra. We have the opportunity to listen to Siri Saddharma, the Dhamma that is preached by Kalyana Mitra. All we have to do is two things. Lord Buddha said, Yoniso Manasikara and Dhammanudhamma Patipada. Yoniso Manasikara is what we learn by listening to Dhamma. We go through it over and over again and try and comprehend it. Dhammanudhamma Patipada is we try our best through meditation to refrain from misusing our six senses. In other words, we try our best to observe Kotyak Sangvara Sila. And So that's all we have to do. And Kotyak Sangvara Sila, if you compare that with the Noble Eightfold Path, that's what the Noble Eightfold Path does. So I hope what I explained is clear to you. And it is so important to become Sothapanna. That's why I'm reiterating it, saying it again and again. If we become Sothapanna, we will never go to the four hells again. That's the main advantage, main benefit we will have. And there are so many other benefits Lord Buddha has explained, which I'm not going to go into detail. But this benefit itself is sufficient. This is the biggest one. It will protect us from the four hells for the rest of our samsara. The word samsara, I will explain it to you later as we go on. The word sang appears there again. So once we have become Sothapanna, it's possible we may complete the other 7 stages or 7 time periods in one life, or we may take thousands of lives. But we have a guarantee, even if it takes out thousands of lives, we will never ever go to the four hells again. And those who are not Sothapanna, even if they are in the human world, and they could be billionaires, trillionaires, there are trillionaires as well in the world now. There are professors who got 5 PhDs, 6 PhDs. There are people who are very powerful, know thousands of people, politicians and so on, whatever they do. Whether they are powerful, rich, educated, no matter what they have, by the time when they die, they will lose all of them. And if they have not become Sothapanna, they will end up in the four hells. But even if a person is a beggar, he has become Sothapanna, he is trillion times better than that trillionaire, because the trillionaire will go to hell by the time he dies if he has not become Sothapanna. And that beggar who is Sothapanna will never go to the four hells again. He will go to a good Divyaloka and never ever go to the four hells again. Good Divyalokas are very good. There's no Kama Sukhallikana Yoga there. There's no Atta Kilamatana Yoga. You have Majjhima Patipada only. And all the other fellow beings who live there, superior beings, they are all Sothapanna. So you'll be living with Sothapanna beings, and they'll be talking about Dhamma all the time, practicing Dhamma, and it will be a lot easier than the human world to go higher from there. So everyone must try to become at least Sothapanna and go to one of those good Divyalokas. At least. And if one can become Anagami, so much the better. If one can become Arhat and go to Nibbana, that is the best. So I will stop there and give you time to ask any questions. Ask any number of questions up to Sothapanna level. Now, this is the second time I am explaining this once again, because last time I explained it in February, and a lot of new people have joined since, but a few of them appear today. More than 30 people have joined recently, but they are not here today. Anyhow, now you can ask me questions from what we discussed so far up to, Sothapanna level. Any questions, anyone, please put forward. You can unmute and ask me the question. By the way, next time we are going to do the next sermon next month, and in that I am going to start on the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, where Lord Buddha has explained how to become Sothapanna. So don't miss that. Even if you have 10 people, 5 people, even 2 people, 1 person, I will continue the sermons. When Lord Buddha delivered Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, there are only 5 human beings and 33 million superior beings. So if Lord Buddha had only 5, if I can have 1 person to listen to me, I am happy. It's not the number of people that matters, it's the quality of the people that matters when it comes to Dhamma. People, even if you have 1,000 people listening, and if they are not interested, if they are not understanding, if they are not listening properly, then it's a waste of time. And they will not gain anything. Whereas even if there's 1 person, and that person is really interested, and he is learning, he or she, and trying to become Sothapanna, and that person will definitely become Sothapanna, and that's good enough for me. Thank you. I'll stop there and give you time to ask questions.
Bhante, the question for breathing technique, you will give it to later, right? As we go in the season, not now.
Yes, in the meditation,
Yeah.
now meditation will be the last item that I'll be explaining, because that comes in the Noble Eightfold Path. Samma Samadhi is the last one, right?
Okay.
So I will explain Lord Buddha's Buddhist meditation, which he has explained in the Dveda Vitakka Sutra and the Vitakka Santana Sutra, right? In the Dveda Vitakka Sutra, that's Sutra number 19, in the first part of Majjhima Nikaya. I think Archana knows. Archana is an expert on Majjhima Nikaya. She teaches as well from Majjhima Nikaya. It's the Sutra number 19, where Lord Buddha has explained just before becoming Bodhisattva, how he discovered Anapana Sati Samadhi, Buddhist meditation technique, not the breathing, how he practiced it, through the practice of it, how he eradicated his Raga Desha Moha, gradually attain jhana, Arya jhana, not Anarya jhana. In Lord Buddha's language, he called them dhyana. In English, they call it jhana, and attain Buddhahood. And then the next sutra, Sutra number 20, Vitakka Santana Sutra, in that Lord Buddha has explained 6 or 7 techniques to use when you are practicing Anapanasati Samadhi meditation technique, as Lord Buddha explained. Still, if Raga Desha Moha thoughts are coming to your mind, how to eradicate them? He has explained 6 or 7 techniques. So those 2 sutras I will explain at the end. Then I will show the comparison to Girimananda Sutra, where Lord Buddha has explained the Dasa Sanya, how to meditate through Dasa Sanya, and the Anapanasati Samadhi Sutra, and the Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra. Those are the main sutras that deals with Buddhist meditation. First, I will explain all these sutras I will explain at the end, because serious meditation one has to do after becoming Sotapanna. You become Sotapanna by practicing, by learning Dhamma, right? You learn correct Dhamma by listening to Dhamma and thinking over and over and analyzing it and comprehending it. And at the same time, practicing the Kotyak Sangvara Sila, which is the Buddhist meditation, which helps you to eradicate some of the raga and also keep raga, dvesha, moha thoughts out of your mind. I will explain it as I go on. So the answer to your question is yes, about the Buddhist meditation and the breathing meditation, the difference, all of that, I'll be explaining towards the end. Any other questions, anyone? Archana Patel always comes up with very good questions. Archana, you have any questions?
Yes, Bhante. One question I have this about loving kindness meditation,
Yes.
which you take before sermon. That only we have to do, na, regularly.
Yes, you know, at Sothapanna level, loving kindness meditation is more than enough because in Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra, now
My question is about before about loving kindness meditation, which you always take before sermons. That only we have to repeat na for half an hour.
yes, now that I'll be explaining in the last lesson how
Yes,
to
yes,
practice, right?
Yes,
How
yes,
to
yes,
utilize those 2 hours to practice the fast. So that will be the last session that I'll be doing.
yes, Bhante.
I'll be explaining it in more detail, but since you followed the last session, you can see in season 3, the last
Yes.
sermon explains how to practice the
Yeah,
path
yeah.
using 2
The
hours
2
a
hours
day.
are there. 2 hours are there, and in in that 2 hours, half an hour is for that loving kindness meditation. No.
Half an hour, you can practice
Yeah.
loving kindness meditation. Yes.
Yeah. That only.
Not only half an hour, actually, it's first half an hour you listen to Dhamma.
Yeah.
Next half an hour you do Yoniso Manasikara. You go through what you learn, right? Then the next 1 hour you practice 2 different types of meditation, and they are both loving kindness.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
See, when you discuss Dhamma like this, you can see people's knowledge. Archana Gedam is very good. Archana Patel is very good. Nagsen is very good. I think Richard is good. When I say good, I mean they have a good Dhamma knowledge, as far as I know. Then the other one is Vaishali Gaidani from USA. She is doing a PhD in Buddhism, and she is good as well. She hasn't joined today. And those are the people, and Pankaj Meshram, those are the people who have made some effort in practicing Dhamma. The others, they just listened and they don't talk much, so I don't know how much they have learned from it. Anyone else who wants to ask any questions?
Bhante, one question I have to ask.
Yes, go ahead.
Now, you have said sometime before that Sotapanna person can come on earth so many times.
Yes, it's possible because he could have 1,000 lives before he attains Arhathood.
He could have 1,000 lives.
Not
Okay,
7
okay.
lives.
Okay,
He has
okay.
to pass 7 time periods, 7 bhava.
Okay. 7 bhava is different than lives. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when he comes to the human world, he will always be born in a very good place to a family who is devoted to Dhamma, and he will have the environment to practice Dhamma, and he will also keep away from, unwholesome deeds, and he will teach Dhamma to others. He will practice Dhamma, and he will accumulate more merits, more wholesome qualities, and go back to where he came from,
Okay.
the good
Yeah.
Divya Loka. until he becomes Shakuddagami. Once he becomes Shakuddagami, he can come back to the human world only once.
He will come back if he wishes, no, Bhante? If he wish to come.
Yes, yes, if he wishes, yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions, anyone? Richard, do you have any questions?
No, not for today's session, Bhante. I'm all right.
Archana Gedam, you have any questions? Archana knows everything, so I don't think she will have questions.
Yeah, always
Ar-
being kind. Thank you so much, Bhante. The way you explain is extremely amazing. I mean, when we read the books, the some of the translation is very different, but the way you have explained previously in some of the sessions, even today, I'm so grateful to you, Bhante. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Archana. You have any questions?
No questions, Bhante.
Okay, okay.
Next time, Bhante,
Then we
maybe
have
for Bhava and Birth, maybe you can elaborate a bit more next time, or it's long.
yeah, let me try this time. Bhava, you see now, when you go through Paticcasamuppada Dhamma,
Yeah.
it says avidya paccaya sankara, because of avidya, not
Yeah.
knowing the Dhamma, right?
Yes.
Not knowing the correct Dhamma, people commit sankara. San
Yeah.
is raga desha moha, kara means action. So sankara is we are doing something mentally, physically, or verbally with raga desha moha, right? Avidya paccaya sankara. Sankara paccaya vijnana. When we do sankara, you know, when I explained the about those 6 boxes, the 4 boxes that we have in the Chitta Santana and Pancha Upadana Skandha, you will see every time when we do Sankara, we are accumulating more and more unwholesome qualities and sins. And unwholesome qualities produces vijnana. In other words, unwholesome qualities like raga, desha, moha works like a battery, negative battery, and maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka works like a positive battery. I have explained that in detail in season 3. I'm going to explain it in more detail in season 4. So the raga, desha, moha battery, the energy that produces a negative energy called vijnana. And that is the thing that stops us becoming Sothapanna. Vijnana wants to take us throughout the samsara. It wants to give us another life. Whereas prajna, if our maitri, karuna, mudita, upeka qualities are stronger, the battery that contains the maitri, karuna, mudita, upeka, it produces a positive energy, and that's called prajna. Prajna is the one that helps us to comprehend Dhamma, right? So avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupa. Nama rupa means, nama means our mind, rupa is, you know, eyes, ears, nose, body, tongue, right?
Yes.
So as long as we have vijnana power in our raga, desha, moha battery, in other words, we have raga, desha, moha in our chitta santana, we will create another body somewhere when we die, right?
Okay.
Then avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, vijnana paccaya nama rupa. Nama rupa paccaya salayatana. Salayatana means, when the nama and rupa are there, salayatana means, you know, the 6 senses that we have, we are not supposed to use them with raga, desha, moha, but we use them So without raga, dvesha, moha, those six senses are called indriya. So once we start using them with raga, dvesha, moha, they becomes ayatana. Ayatana means collecting points. Now in our language, Sinhala language, ayatana means a place that collects things. Vyaparika ayatana means a business that collects money. Any ayatana, the word ayatana in Magadhi language and Sinhala language means a collection point. You know, this Magadhi language and Sinhala language are very, very close. So that's why it's easier for us to understand Dhamma. So these 6 points, they once we start using the 6 indriyas to collect, you know, more information with raga, dvesha, moha, they become, indriya becomes ayatana. So they are called salayatana. Salayatana pachya passo. Passo means, you know, they, how can I explain these things in English? You know, the ayatana, passo means the touch. You know, they see things. Eyes will see. Eyes can attract, you know, rupa. Rupa, Lord Buddha called it form. In English, they call it form. That doesn't make sense to me, you know. I rather use the Magadhi word because English words are so misleading. They give the wrong meanings. Whatever the eyes can see, Lord Buddha call it rupa. Whatever the ears can hear, Lord Buddha call shabda rupa. And whatever the nose can feel, he said gandha rupa, and 6 type of rupas, you see. So this ayatana will attract them. They can feel. Salayatana, passa. Passapachya vedana. Vedana means the feeling. So they get these messages and send them to the mind. Mind gets the feeling. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya. Sankara, Vijnana. The 5 aggregates, they call it in English. But in Magadhi language, they are called, what's the Magadhi word now? Now I'm forgetting the Magadhi words when I'm explaining in English, because it's so complicated when you are trying to, you know, translate Magadhi words into English language. Sorry, let me think now. Vedana is feeling. Vedana. Vedana pachya tanha. So when he gets the feeling, he develops tanha, right? Tanha means deep desire to hang on to it. He enjoys it more. Tanha pachya upadana. Upadana means he is holding everything together, not letting it go, right? And when a young boy falls in love with the young girl, they say, if I don't get her, I will commit suicide. He's so attached to her. Similarly with the girl, she will say, if I don't get her, did you see that Indian film? What was it?
Many Indian films.
Let me think. Where? Oh gosh, I forget that name now. The girl and the boy, they try to commit suicide together. Remember? Dimple Kapadia and
Bobby.
Bobby is you remember that, yeah? Bobby. So that's that level. You see, they become that. So you have seen quite a lot of Indian films, right?
Yeah, I come from Bollywood, no Bombay.
I used to watch them when I was a young boy in school. Okay, that was about that film was about 40 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah. Maybe 50 years ago. Dimple Kapadia was only 16 at the time, and Raj Kapoor's son, or Raj Kapoor, he was only 19. I remember. Anyway, coming back to this, so that's Upadana. Upadana Pachya Bhava. Bhava means you are creating more Raga, Dvesha, Moha, right? Then there, what you are creating is a combination of Raga, Dvesha, Moha. That combination, it could be with different permutations. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm using my little statistics knowledge. So depending on the combination and the permutations of Raga, Dvesha, Moha you have in your box number 3, that can be divided into so many jatis, right? Jati means that person. It could be a human jati, it could be Brahma jati, it could be Deva jati, it could be animal jati, different types of jatis. The 31 planes have 31 jatis. Then the humans can be, different types of jati, good people, bad people, mad people, rich people, those types of jatis. So many jatis, everything in the world can be divided into jati. There's a sutra called Jati Dharma Sutra. Now we are going into heavy Dhamma here in Paticcasamuppada Dhamma. Jati, Bhavapacca Jati. Jati, Pacca, Jara, Marana, Soka Parideva, Dukkha, Domanassa, Upayasa. Sambhavanti, again the word sung, Eva Metassa Kevalassa, Dukkha Skandha Samudayo Hoti. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Richard, I'm sure you
Yes.
you must have heard that, in school. We were taught that in the Dhamma school when we were about 10 years old. We had no idea what we were talking about, but just learned like parrots.
Okay.
Now only I understand what it means. So that's bhava. Bhava means raga bhava, dvesha bhava, moha bhava, right?
Oh,
So jati is the place where in the type of life they are going to have in the next birth,
okay.
right? So when we are talking of 7 lives, it's not 7 bhava,
Okay.
right? So according to these bhava can be categorized into the other way of categorizing it 8 ways. Now the first group of bhava will be like, how to explain that? Bhava can be divided now in the Sothapanna, the 4 levels of enlightenment has 4 parts. So that's 8, right? Altogether. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm following.
Yes. So once a person has become Sothapanna, there are only other 7 levels.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Fruition. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So those 7 levels are the 7 bhavas. That's why Lord Buddha said, Nate bhavang attamangadiyanti. He has to climb up another 7 bhavas.
Okay.
Right? Sotapanna person has to climb up, pass through another 7 bhavas. And if he passes that, there's no 8th bhava. But those are not births. Those are not jati. Right?
Okay.
Those are bhavas. It's very, very difficult to explain it in English, You have to really think long and hard about what I'm saying. I think
It's like
Archana get them
perception of
understand.
looking at life.
Beg your pardon?
Would you say it's perception of looking at life? Let's say how I looked at life 10 years younger. Now, after having some wisdom, I look at life in a different manner.
No.
Understanding, like with a more broader understanding.
Yeah, with the understanding, you look at in different ways.
Yeah,
But once you become Sotapanna, you have attained a certain knowledge. Right?
Yes.
Bhava is like the knowledge that you have attained, in other words. When your raga quality, raga dvesha moha quality, in other words, your sung, your raga dvesha moha quality goes down, and your maitri karuna mudita upeka quality goes up, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So At the first level, when you enter the stream, Sothapanna Marga, right? Your Raga
Yes.
Desha Moha start to go down, right?
Yeah.
And when you pass the first hurdle, you become Sothapanna, then you are at a higher level, right?
Yes.
Now, earlier you were at lower level, now you are at a higher level. That means your Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeka qualities greater than the Raga Dvesha Moha qualities, right?
Okay. Yes, yes. Okay, this one.
Then from there are another 7 levels you have to climb. When you go through the first level, that is the Sakuddagami Marga, your Raga Desha Moha will go down further, little by little, right?
Okay. Okay.
Then you become Sakuddagami. Then your Raga Desha Moha is even lower and your Maitri Karuna is stronger.
Okay.
So that's what happens when you go through the path, right?
Okay.
So the Sotapanna person has to go through 7 levels and no 8. Ate bhavang attamangadiyanti. Ate bhavang attamangadiyanti. There's no 8th bhava. This has been misinterpreted as there's no 8
8
lives, so 7 lives. You see? That's everyone says that. Every book you take, right?
This okay, yeah.
Every Buddhism book, even the Tripitaka that we have in Sri Lanka, 4 Tripitakas, they all say that. But that's wrong. Think about it. Only the Tripitaka, that old Tripitaka in the British Library, that gives the correct version. Like that, you see, there are many, many Dhamma points in the new Tripitaka. They have been misinterpreted. That's why people are finding it hard to become Sotapanna. If the correct Dhamma is explained to people, there's no rocket science here.
And there's no reproduction of the Tipitaka from the British Museum available like for public?
No, they are doing business on that, isn't it? You can get a copy of it.
Okay.
It's very expensive. 1 page cost about £50. And but Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra they don't give.
Any
Because it's
specific reason
written
for
on
that?
gold leaves.
Okay.
For some reason, I ordered it. Pankaj Meshram ordered it, I think, and another monk in Sri Lanka ordered it. I gave him the information, and another monk from Sri Lanka who studied in the UK, who is very senior now. He's 81 years old, and he did his masters in UK and PhD in USA. He managed to buy 10 sermons, including Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra, but he was not given the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. And to buy those 10 sutras, the 10 sutras he bought are Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra, then the Girimananda Sutra, Rahulwada Sutra, Anapanasati Samadhi Sutra, then those 4 sutras dealing with meditation, Rahulwada, those 4, then Kalama Sutra 5, Akkana Sutra 6, then the other 3 I can't remember.
Okay.
He has 10 sutras and he's teaching from there. The only thing is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra is missing. So without that, the most important information to become Sotapanna is missing. That's the problem.
Is it removed knowingly or because of it being on gold?
Firstly, it's difficult to read it also. I went there many times and I got it only twice. The reason is because it's written on golds. They send it all over the world for exhibitions to make money.
Okay.
Right? They charge £14 from people to look at that. People can't even read it because it's in Sinhala language. Only people who could read Sinhala language can read it. Just to see what is in gold, people are curious. So they pay 14 pounds. In London, they have exhibitions. They charge 14 pounds. And in other countries, I don't know how much they charge. And people just go and look at it. Buddhist people, maybe Christians as well, I don't know. And they are making a lot of money out of it. And if they give copies out, they will lose that opportunity, isn't it? It's hardly in the British Library, you have to go many times to get an opportunity to read it because it's not there. But there are Arahat monks who teaches this correct Dhamma, who haven't seen this Tripitaka. I have met two Arahat monks in the forest in Sri Lanka, in the deep forest. They don't come out and they know correct Dhamma. There are very few like that in Sri Lanka. I don't know, maybe in Thailand, maybe in Burma, maybe in other countries. I don't know. But in Sri Lanka, I have heard there are about, maybe 100, 150, and I have met two of them. That's all I can say. And they know correct Dhamma. See, the problem in Sri Lanka is there are about 33,000 registered monks here. And almost 99% of them are doing business or working full-time or doing something or the other to make money. It's a livelihood for them. And that's not what monks are supposed to do. Right?
Agreed.
So if those Arhat monks come out of the woods and start preaching, they are attacked.
Okay.
The other monks attack them, so they don't come out. They stay in the forest, and if you go and look for them, and sometimes you may find them, sometimes you may not.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you.
Everybody's temple here in Sri Lanka is a business organization. Same with most of the monasteries now.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
I have met many monks in the UK. I haven't come across a single monk who knows correct Dhamma. In Sri Lanka, I have met many monks, and there are few. There are few, but only those monks in the forest, they know the path up to Arahathood, correct path to Arahathood. There are quite a few monks in Sri Lanka who know the path up to Sothapanna. And that's where it is. In UK or any other country, I haven't come across a single Sothapanna monk. There may be, I don't know, I haven't come across. You see, what Archana is talking of is about what Lord Buddha has said in Mahasatara Satipatthana Sutra. Kaya Kaya Anupassana, Vedana Suvedana Anupassana, Chitte Chitta Anupassana, Dhammesu Dhamma Anupassana. Now you are talking of Vedana Anupassana, right?
Yeah, Bhante, yes.
Yeah. So they say
Yes.
Vedananupassana means if you are sitting down, if your leg is paining, you concentrate on that and
On that,
say
yes.
it's not paining, it's not paining, it's not paining, like that, yeah?
No, not like that. We feel that Vedana. We used to, we feel how Vedana are, and afterward they go. After some
You
time,
see,
another Vedana comes. Yeah, it's like that.
Buddhism is not about building the body, it's about building the mind,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yes.
You see, those are Hindu meditation techniques.
Mhm. They say that is anicca, and Vedana is anicca, and the thoughts which comes are also anicca. And I used to do that for 2 years.
You see, now when I go to, you see, that's long beyond Sothapanna level, but I will explain you briefly what, Vedana means. Rupa Vedana Sanya, right? When Rupa Vedana comes to your mind, at that level, you will see whether there's Raga Desha Moha in it. And if there's Raga Desha Moha, you remove it from your mind.
Okay.
It's about controlling your thoughts, not controlling your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, it's all about removing Raga Dvesha Moha from our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Raga Dvesha Moha qualities that we have built up in the past by practicing Raga Dvesha Moha thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Lord Buddha said in the Anapanasati Samadhi Sutra. Digangva asasangva pajanati, rasangva asasangva pajanati. Digangva means the raga desha moha qualities that you have built up over a long period of time, right? Digangva. Diga means long. Remove them. Asangva rasasangva pajanati means any raga dvesha moha thoughts that are coming to your mind right now, remove them. So this is translated as Digangva means take a deep breath, long breath. Rasangva means take a short breath. And that's what they are doing in the meditation centers.
Okay.
They are taking a deep breath and a short breath.
Okay.
Have you come across that?
No, Bhante, they don't teach about the long breath or short breath. They only say, see what is coming as it is. Don't change it, but how it is
don't
coming,
make your
only
views
keep
about
that.
this. Don't be judgmental.
Don't be judgmental.
Just
You
let
see
the
only
thoughts
as
pass
it is.
by.
Yes.
Then how can you remove your raga quality, dvesha quality, moha quality if you leave everything out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, our mind is like this, you see. We have raga, dvesha, moha qualities and maitri, karuna, mudita, upeka qualities in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you take an empty bucket, you pour some dirty water into it and pour some clean water into it. It's a mixture, right?
Yes.
So if you don't pour any more water into it, it won't get cleaner.
Yes.
If you put more dirty water into it, it will get dirtier.
Mm.
But if you keep putting on more and more and more clean water, it will get cleaner, isn't it?
Yes.
Eventually, it will be totally clean. So similarly, our mind, what we do in Buddhist meditation is we keep all raga, desha, moha thoughts out. Don't let them come into the mind. Take in maitri, karuna, mudita, upekka thoughts all the time. Right?
Yes.
Don't let them go. You know, now in the earlier technique, you said, look at the thought and let it go.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that. We look at the thought. If it's a raga, desha, moha thought, we will leave it out. If it is a maitri, karuna, mudita,
Yes.
upekka thought, we take it in.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? And practice it more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do when we practice loving kindness meditation, isn't it?
Yes.
And what does the Dasa Sanya say in the Girimananda Sutra? Right? There are 10 ways in which you take in positive thoughts and put out You take in wholesome thoughts and put out unwholesome thoughts, isn't it?
Anicca is not like that, na Bhante? Anicca
Yeah,
is different than
anicca.
that.
Anicca, in Dasa Sanya it says, take in anicca thought, put out nicca thought. Right?
Okay.
And then it says, take in asubha thought, put out subha thought.
Okay, yes.
Right? So that's, that is called anapana. Ana means take in positive thoughts. Pana means put out unwholesome thoughts. And Buddha Gosha changed the meaning of that. He said ana means breathing in, pana means breathing out. That's how they totally, what's the word?
So they gave the respiration formula, the technique.
Completely corrupted Buddha Dhamma,
Misinterpretation.
Purposely by Visuddhi Marga.
Okay.
So when they take a leave, I need to.
Yes, I think it's coming on to nearly 23. 11:30 in the night in Sri Lanka. We have taken nearly 3 hours and 20 minutes. If there are no more questions, I will transfer merits and conclude the session. Any more questions, anyone? I think there are no more questions. So I have to transfer merits for all those who offered Sanghadana during the last month to the monastery in Sri Lanka. Some have donated for my Sanghadana as well. And some have donated to Sanghadana, to the monks who delivered the 3 sutras today. Let me quote some of the names from my memory. Pankaj Meshram started, Dichital Meshram from USA. Then Vinay Cobra Kade and Milind Tamke from USA, then Vaishali Gaidani and Sanjay Gaidani from USA, Archana Gedam and Susim, Archana's husband from USA, and then Sunil Patel from USA. Who else is from USA? Kranti from USA. And I think I have covered all the people in USA. Then from India, we have Nagsen Wankade and Rima Wankade, then Dr. Vaishali Pegare and Dr. Mano Pegare. And then who else we have in India? Dr. Natasha Sheshware. None of them are here today. Then who else? Sorry if I have missed out any other name. Let me think. Rashmi Manwatka from Japan. And then some Sri Lankans in the UK. Mr. and Mrs. Sanjeev Jaliyagoda. Then I can't remember all the names now. I know the faces come to my mind, but the names are not there. Nirosha Hettiarachi, Tushari Gamage, then Palita Gunaratna, Rushen, Samaravikrama, then Chamara Arunoda and his wife, then Dr. Chayantaratnayaka. Who else? I think those are the people. If I have missed out any other name, please, I do apologize. For providing Sanghadana, those are the people who provided Sanghadana. And also people who joined the Dhamma sermon today. Richard, Archana Gadam, Archana Patel, Mrs. Krishanti De Silla, Mr. Kisel De Silla, Miss Priya Suravir, I think. Mr. Rajkumar Ambade, Mr. Sumedha Kavwale. All those people who have contributed for the Dana and the Dhamma sermon today have earned a lot of merits by giving Sangha Dana as well as joining the Dhamma sermon. Listening to Dhamma is also a great merit. Lord Buddha said in the Mangala Sutra, Kalena Dhamma Savanange Tam Mangalam Uttamang. Listening to Dhamma, that helps you to eradicate Raga Desha Moha, Kalena. It's a great meritorious deed, and also discussing Dhamma, and also giving Dhamma Dana. So a lot of people, I'm giving Dhamma Dana and people have helped me. So I'm sure a lot of you people who will pass it on to the others, that will be a Dhamma Dana as well. And by listening to Dhamma, believe it or not, you have completed 10 meritorious deeds. I will explain it to you next time what those 10 are, because we are running out of time. So by doing all these things, all the merits that you have accumulated today, as well as all the merits that you have accumulated throughout your samsara, first let's transfer them to our relatives who have passed away. Starting with, we always transfer merits to Bodhisattva Dr. Ambedkar, who is like a second Buddha to Indian Buddhists all over the world, and also all our relatives who have passed away. Think of all of them. And also, I always transfer merits to people who helped us to build the Vihara in London 31 years ago, and who have kept it going for the past 31 years. And so all those people that I have mentioned, their relatives who have passed away, may they all receive those merits, and with the power of those merits, may they all be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May they comprehend the Four Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu 3 times at the end of it. Idamme jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu natayo. Idamme jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu natayo. Idamme jnatinang hotu sukhita hontu natayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, we are going to transfer all these merits to all the living beings living on the 31 planes. That's the living beings living in the 20 Brahma Loka, 6 Divya Loka, Manusha Loka, and the 4 hells. May they all receive these merits, and with the power of these merits, may they all be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May they all comprehend the 4 Noble Truths and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite this gatha. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can say sadhu 3 times at the end of it. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata chayammehi sambadam punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Next, with the power of all these merits, may all of you and all your family members be healthy, be happy, be free from worries, free from suffering. May you be able to eradicate all your raga, desha, moha, comprehend the 4 Noble Truths, and finally attain permanent happiness in Nibbana. In order to make those wishes, I'm going to recite these gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can just say sadhu 3 times at the end of them. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana patya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahan hotu sabba dukkha pamuchyatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Finally, in order to ask for forgiveness from the Noble Triple Gem Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, I'm going to recite these 3 gathas. If you know the gathas, you can recite them with me. Otherwise, you can say sadhu at the end of them. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang Achayang kamame Bhante Bhuripanya Tathagata Kayena Vacha Chittena Pamadena Maya Katang Achayang kamame Dhamma Samdittika Kalika Kayena Vacha Chittena Pamadena Maya Katang Achayang kamame Sangha Supatipanna Anuttara Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you all very, very much for joining the Dhamma discussion today.